Will Thailand scrap the second test for the test and go? Phuket makes billions in revenue from the Phuket Sandbox, and monks will scare away Omicron and COVID-19. Those are all stories that are coming up in Good Morning Thailand today. Hello and welcome to Good Morning Thailand with Tim and Jay, sponsored by Coffee Culture and Twin Palms Residences Montezor.
G'day, good to see you.
Good day. Wow, this is the first time you've said good day. You let your Australianism slip.
Yeah, it's funny how I say that very, very rarely these days, but yes, you can take the boy out of Australia, but you can't take Australia out of the boy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot of topics to talk about. As usual, Carmel is also joining us in the background, so if you do have any questions, please type question and your question, and Carmel will filter them out and let us know as we go along with the video.
And if you offer her money, she'll probably put your question at the top of the list.
Well, that's how it works.
Yeah,
That goes without saying.
That sounds
Corruption
good.
runs deep.
In Thailand, and apparently the Thaiger. All right. Will Thailand ease entry restrictions today? Now, that was the title on the thumbnail on the video, and the topic we're going to start with today.
Well, the CSA have sort of been running loose with their tongues this week and
Yes.
preempting some of the things they're saying. They've had the public health minister out there talking.
Yeah, everyone's favourite,
Yes.
Kun Anutin Chanvirakudn.
And also the tourism operators have been chiming up and basically demanding that the CSA do something about loosening restrictions. Just about all the comments we get every day, Jay, are just saying, just do something, open up, ease restrictions, get the bars open, just do anything.
Yeah.
But it seems that up to date, the chorus coming out of the CSA is steady as she goes. We'll just keep the restrictions as they are. In fact, they ramped things up yesterday to level 4?
Yeah, level 4 alert.
Which I think there's a total of 5 levels. I'm not sure what happens when we get to 5.
I'm guessing level 5 would be
Lockdowns.
Lockdown-esque measures.
But they've basically said, or everybody's saying, that that's just not going to happen, even though the number of cases has been rising in Thailand. It's sort of levelled off at the moment, but it has been steadily rising.
Yes, but there will, of course, be the meeting today with the CCSA, where it will be a lot more clear what changes, if any changes, will happen. There is a proposal out there that involves scrapping the second RT-PCR test for overseas arrivals. However, it is still currently a proposal. Is it likely to happen today? I think doubtful.
Interesting. I really don't know. I just think the government's under a lot of pressure from people high up, not only in the government, but moneyed people in Thailand who are operating tourism industries or hotels, who are just demanding that they do something, anything, to get the numbers of travellers back into Thailand starting to rise.
Yes.
Now, we know at least half the people that are coming back to Thailand at the moment aren't just tourists. They're people who are coming back for family, for business reasons, for conferences, for whatever the reason might be, to attend to their condo they haven't seen for 2 years, whatever it is.
I've got a villa in Hua Hin I haven't touched for 2 years.
Yeah, good luck with
that. Will
that.
that still be there when I'm back? Possibly.
It'll be a sea of black mould when they step inside.
Yes. But we actually did a survey yesterday, and we asked the question, what is the main reason people are still coming back to Thailand? And the one thing you really love about Thailand that you can't find anywhere else. Tim, what are the results?
Well, we gave them options, and the one option that... we only gave 5 options. In the polls that we run, we can only give you 5 options, and then we invite you to add your own perspective. But the one that won out was a unique culture and lifestyle you can't find anywhere else. Okay. 42% of people said that's why they want to come back to Thailand. The second one was the temples, beaches and bar girls, which is usually sort of the general tone of how people sort of perceive Thailand from outside, whether it be right or wrong. Yep. The third highest was one word. One simple word. What is that word, Jay?
Pattaya.
Pattaya. The fourth option was stunning scenery and fantastic people, and again, we agree with that one. And the least most popular is so many options for accommodation and tours at all price points. that to me has always been one of the great things about Thailand, that you can come here and enjoy it at so many levels. Yes, you can go and stay in the beautiful 5-star hotels that adorn many of the beaches around Thailand, but you can also come here as a backpacker and have a fine old time drinking cheap beer and 50 baht pad, or not drinking, but eating 50 baht pad thais.
That's right. And if you like doing that, cool.
Two other, out of all the, and thank you to all the people that responded. We got about, how many? 110 comments, and 2.4 thousand people voted on that. So thank you very much for your interest. Out of the comments, trying to synthesize them, other people said sex tourism. And a lot of people also said family as a reason for coming back to Thailand.
Yeah. That could be one.
It mystifies me. People are saying, "Oh, I haven't been able to get back to Thailand for 2 years, and my family's there, and all my money's there, and my fiance's there." And I'm thinking, well, there's been plenty of options to actually come back over the 2 years. I mean, except for quite a small 2-month period in 2020, there have been options to return to Thailand. Okay, there was quarantine for a lot of the time, and there's now still those 2 days of quarantine with this day 1 and day 5 testing, but you can return to Thailand, and a lot of people are.
It might be slightly inconvenient because you might have to do some extra paperwork, but actually let us know what is a good reason, or what reason do you have for not being able to come to Thailand but having to happen to be here at the same time. Like, you need to be here but you can't.
Because you don't want a stick stuck up your nose, or is it because of the added expense of the quarantine? I mean, these are all reasons. Yeah. They're all barriers, but you can actually come to Thailand. Carmel.
Jamie296 says that it's simply not viable to come for a 2-week holiday until they get rid of the 5th-day test. Yeah, so I guess that's the struggle.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't bother coming for a 2-week holiday.
And because, I mean, of course, the problem is that if you test positive on that 1st or 5th day, that you're going to be interred either in your own room or wherever for 10 days, and that's going to pretty well bugger up your holiday.
Yeah, makes sense.
If you're coming for a longer time or returning long term, then okay, maybe it's more applicable to you. But yeah, for a 2-week holiday, there are a lot of risks and costs.
Well, talking about tourism and restrictions, Kamal, you've got another question.
There was another comment from Tenderloin. It's with the mask obligatory, that's the reason for not coming back.
Look,
obligatory mask. Why?
I just don't see this this pushback on masks. I understand that they are slightly inconvenient. Even here in the hot climate, I walk around with a mask outside. I don't walk around going, "Oh, I wish I didn't have to wear this mask." It's something I sort of have to remember, a bit like putting your seatbelt on when you sit in the car. If you don't have the seatbelt on, you sort of think, "Oh, something's not right." Same with the mask wearing these days. If I don't have my mask on, something's not right. But I don't see it as that big an issue. I understand there's a political pushback, but that's what you do in Thailand. When you're in a public place, you wear a mask.
Unless it causes someone breathing problems, like a proper respiratory problem. I mean, if you're going to travel here just because you don't have to, like, you have to wear a mask is, it's very little, I feel.
The 2 baht paper mask. People might say, well, they don't do anything. Why do I have to wear them? Well, it's just the way the law is. Yeah. And I mean, they certainly don't restrict your breathing. I've never worn a face mask that's restricted my breathing. The ones that probably actually really work may indeed restrict breathing for some people, but I don't see that as a reason that would stop you. Even if you think it's stupid, even if you think it's ridiculous, it's just the way it is in Thailand that you're required to wear a mask. It's, as we've established...
It's not mandatory, it's not by law, it's encouraged.
It's sort of mandatory socially.
Yes.
If you don't wear a mask outside, people will stare at you, and you're not going to go to the top of their postcard list.
Yes.
If you're not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
I don't see that as a reason for not coming back to Thailand, personally.
But the tourism operators...
Oh, yeah.
Now they've got some issues. Like you mentioned earlier, Thailand is on level 4 alert that was announced yesterday, which means that they were not encouraging.
What are you doing up there?
Sorry, should I lower down my seat?
Yes. Now it's the other way.
Oh no. Okay. Anyways,
Oh dear.
tourism operators have slammed the level 4 announcement.
The tourism operators are revolting.
Yes, and what they've suggested, and they've basically come out and said, look, guys, you're telling people to not travel domestically, and you're hurting the economy, you're hurting the tourism. Stop it.
Yeah, this is the part of the level 4, is they're saying, please restrict your domestic travel.
Yes.
Now, are people going to go, oh, gee, I was going to head to Udon Thani on the weekend. Level 4, perhaps I'll cancel my trip. I'm not sure if the Thais are going to take that much notice of the...
It's more the families, isn't it? Let's say if you've been stuck in Bangkok for a year and you've been waiting to travel with your mum, your dad, your grandma, your uncles, or whoever it is, and the government comes out and says, you just need that one person in the family to be like, hey, look, we're being told not to travel, let's not travel, let's delay our plans another 6 months. And it's like, oh, God damn it. And that's a lot of business. Like a family of 6, they're going to go travel, get a hotel room, 2 rooms, 3 rooms. It's a lot of business lost. It all adds up.
Certainly the last 8 weeks I've noticed that there has been a slow increase of domestic travel. There's been more flights added by a lot of the airlines. I've noticed it when I'm booking my weekly trip back to Phuket.
Yeah.
So things have been getting busier. Be interesting to note whether there's going to be any change in the next few weeks to see if there's a drop because of these new level 4 precautions.
Yes.
Look, I'm right with the tourism operators. This day 1 and day 5 testing, prepaid testing, prepaid SHA hotels. It's a complete bollocks. I mean, it really is time to just throw these in the bin and indeed encourage people to wear their mask and socially distance and take precautions. But at some stage, Thailand just needs to get its act together and see that the Omicron variant is much less severe, and all they're doing with these added restrictions and added problems is just stretching any recovery down the road. We've lost another high season, so we're going to have to wait till the end of the year for the next high season. It's time to do something radical, Thailand, and just dropping the 5th day testing today is hardly going to improve things. You need to drop all this PCR testing on arrival and stop putting encumbrances and restrictions on people that just want to come and have a holiday and enjoy Thailand.
Tim for the tourism presidency in Thailand. He's left the building, ladies and gentlemen. Well, to further back your comments, Tim, I've got a couple of quotes from Kun Shamnan Sisawat, who is the president of the Tourism Council of Thailand. Now, he's come out and said, look, the new COVID alert will increase anxiety amongst people and inconsistency in business operations as demand fluctuates. He's gone on to say, as tourism largely depends on confidence and the government's policies, any action from the authorities should be consistent and avoid this frequent flip-flops.
Well, that's the key, isn't it? It's just, will we, won't we? Oh, we'll do a bit of this and we'll take it back. And
let the tourism industry recover in the long run. And I think that sums up everything what you've just said.
Just imagine if they dropped, and we don't know. We'll know later today, and the Thaiger.com will bring that information to you as soon as it comes to hand. If they drop the day 5 prepaid PCR test, prepaid SHA plus hotel, which I'm starting to think there's a bit of a rort going on. What happens if you have prepaid for that 5th day, or you have prepaid for your PCR test? How are you going to get your money back?
No, but it's Thailand. If they decided today, it's not going to take effect for at least another 30 days.
But people can apply today with a 60-day window for their test and go or other Thailand passes. So
you ask for a refund and then reapply with the new Thailand pass.
Well, there you go. It's just insanity.
Maybe they give some refunds. Who knows? Carmel, you've got a question.
Rosendo Texas Restorations asked if any restrictions dropped at all, or did it increase as well?
No restrictions have currently dropped. The only The last amended restriction was the alcohol restriction that it went back from 9 p.m. to back to 11 p.m. However, since then, only restrictions have only been added. For example,
For example,
the Thailand Pass test and go
right.
day 5
day
testing.
5. The ones that I suppose affect travellers and tourists would be that alcohol consumption, the curfew at 11 p.m. There's also, we know that there are bars around the country in some of the popular tourist zones that have converted into quasi sort of restaurants. That means increased lighting, ventilation,
It's actually
food.
quite a lot. If done properly, it's quite a lot because some businesses have done, the legal way, the proper way. It's like getting the SHA plus requirements. Open air. It either needs to be open air, it needs to have a really good air ventilation, it can't be completely closed. If you want to serve alcohol, you need to have certain licenses. So it has taken quite a lot for certain businesses to spend that money to get that certification, and then you're being told that you've got to deal with these restrictions as well.
Yeah, and I mean, to a certain extent, it's squeezing through a bit of a loophole in the system. But some of these businesses are now being targeted by police, particularly in Pattaya. We had a few people contact us yesterday that some of these little bars, which have tried to convert into restaurants, are now being picked up with little fine pieces of fine print on the bottom of the restriction saying, "Oh no," and they're being fined. So a rort all round, I'm thinking. So yeah, look, the bars are still technically closed. The nightlife, whilst it appears to be open in some cases, is having to close at 11 p.m, and that seems to be reasonably strictly enforced. And tourists coming for a holiday, they're just going to say, well, really? I'm going to spend all my money to come to Thailand to be told I have to go to bed at 11 p.m?
Yes.
Just I'm starting to think there's a certain level of insanity that...
Wait, who's being told to go to bed by 11 p.m?
Well, I mean, okay.
You mean the alcohol restrictions?
It's 11 p.m.
Yeah.
You're kicked out of the bar.
Yeah.
And you're walking around, Walking Street in Pattaya. The lights are starting to switch off around you.
You still have an hour to go buy your beer from 7-Eleven.
Yeah, okay.
And
We're going to head down to 7-Eleven and
enjoy in your private residences.
Yeah.
Is it ideal? No, but entertainment venues aren't open anyways. If you're coming to Thailand, you know that entertainment venues are closed. It's not like after the bar you can go to a club. So you're actually at a restaurant, right?
So I don't know why the cabinet, obviously they're going to have this meeting today at the CCSA in some sort of nicely carpeted conference room, and the Prime Minister's going to be there. Why don't they just all get together, get in one of those silver passenger vans, the turbocharged ones that go at about 160 kilometres an hour?
Yeah.
And head down to Pattaya or Phuket and go and ask the traders and the business people what they think they should do. Why don't they just get out into the real world and just sort of see the scope of what their decisions are causing? Yeah. The scope of sadness and dreariness in the old land of smiles.
And if they'd like any advice on how to talk to the people, you can watch Voice of the People, previously shot on the Thaiger YouTube. Sorry, that was a quick plug for our own show.
Are we still doing that? Voice of the People?
Yes, we are, but we've kind of taken a break from that.
Okay.
We've moved on to some other things. We've got some plans. Kamal's got a question. However, Kamal, I apologize. I've got to move on. It's now time for some updates. One's a quick update, one's a longer update. Kamal, please keep that question for later. I apologize. First update being prosecutors charge Joe Ducati. Now, his name is not really Joe Ducati. It's just a name that we've come up with.
This is the young policeman who was driving
killed
allegedly.
a woman on a zebra crossing, allegedly driving at 100 kilometers per hour.
The fact that he was driving a Ducati has sort of become part of the narrative. I've got an update for this when you finish too.
All right. Well, yes, he will be charged on 9 counts, which include driving a vehicle with no license plate, using a vehicle without paying the registration fee, having no third-party insurance, driving a vehicle with no side mirrors, failing to keep to the left lane, speeding, failure to comply with traffic signs, and driving a vehicle recklessly.
Well, there's obviously just one charge that's the big one there. He was indicted yesterday.
Yes.
And last evening he actually confessed and admitted guilt to all 9 charges. And it's now been revealed that he'll be sentenced on April the 7th, and there won't be a trial going forward on that case.
All right. And the prosecutor in charge of the case has said that the family are entitled for damages with the office. Currently, they've already filed a lawsuit for 72 million baht in damages in the civil court. And the family also has filed against the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, the Traffic and Transportation Office, and the Road Safety Centre for allegedly negligence in safety management and pedestrian crossings. And I hope that, all these people that are involved, the BMA, the Traffic and Transportation Office, I hope that they have to pay something silly, like something crazy, like 200, 300 million, so they can get their act together and make the roads of Thailand safer.
Well, I would, if I was the BMA and those other organisations, I'd say, okay, look, what we'd like to do, my offer would be to offer the family, given that they've also got a 72 million baht civil suit going, I'd say, look, let's spend that other 72 million that you're suing us for, to spend that directly on zebra crossings around Thailand.
But they have enough money. They have enough money. They should be held accountable.
They should be doing it anyway.
Yeah, they should be held accountable for their negligence thus far. The family should be given that money, plus they should add probably 200 to 500 million from their budget on whatever it is that they spend to fix up the city.
So is it the BMA who they've painted the road?
Yeah.
They've got the zebra crossings. Assumedly, in some areas, they've got better signs than others. I have noticed some extra signs, some overhead signs go in along Asok Montree Road over the past couple of weeks. But it's the driving habits that are actually causing the incidents.
That too, yes.
There's only so much the BMA can do. I mean, you can drag the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. So I think it's an education thing that's still causing these tragic accidents.
But there needs to be water first for the horse to drink. So what I mean is, they need to create a certain standard of road safety. They need those zebra crossings. They need stop signs. They need traffic police. They need to make a lot of improvements. Then they can go and complain about the bad driving, because the bad driving absolutely does exist.
Yeah. But the zebra crossings are there. It's just I don't think a lot of people know how they're meant to behave when they get there. That's right. my thinking. But anyway, it looks like there's some conclusion to that case where he has now admitted guilt to the 9 charges and will be sentenced on April the 7th.
Just saying, all this money spent on jets and tanks and ships. Perhaps let's fix up our roads first? All right. Yes, Carmel.
A comment about this topic. TK Van Kam said that, have you ever seen how easy it is to get a Thai driver's license? It's kind of a joke in my opinion. It should become harder so that people will drive safer and get better driving habits.
Where did you get your license?
In Phuket.
Do you know how I got my first license?
Did you pay for it?
Khao San Road.
Oh, Kasan.
That's true.
That's all he's going to say.
Yep.
Allegedly. Protect yourself, Tim. How dare you?
Doing my best.
How was your license experience? Like, have you actually ever done a driving test? Are we going to talk about this?
No, no comment is my answer, Your Honour.
Okay, well, I'll give you my experience. I got my license. I went at 8 a.m. in the morning. I think by 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. I had my license the same day. Went in the morning, I had to watch a video for an hour.
That video in English or Thai?
English.
Okay.
I did the written exam, which was on a machine. The exam itself had one question repeated 4 times.
This is how people will be watching the video.
Yeah, on their phone. Yeah, there's no one like making sure you're actually watching the video. But anyways, it's just something that's compulsory. So the written exam, which was on a machine, had a question that was repeated 4 times. Because it was repeated 4 times, I was like, do I actually have the right answer? Do I guess the right answer 4 times, or do I just try my luck? And maybe 25%, at least I get 1 out of 4, rather than all 4 wrong. So I went with that.
Can you remember if there was a question asking you what you meant to do at a zebra crossing?
No.
No? Okay, there you go.
And then I had to drive my car in a circuit No one sitting next to me, just a person far away monitoring.
Were you allowed to bring your own
Yes.
Rolls Royce, or were
Yeah.
you given a car?
I could bring my own Rolls Royce.
Oh.
It doesn't have to be manual, it was automatic. And when you parallel park, that's it. That's pretty much the most difficult part of the course. And in one day I had my license.
Okay.
Renewed after 1 year for 10 years. I believe 10 years. Yeah,
Okay.
not sure.
Good luck.
But yes.
Carmel.
West Texas Greg says that, well, it appears that if you stop at a zebra crossing for pedestrians, you get hit from behind. So it seems someone gets hit either way. I think this is about the motorbike driver that
Yeah.
got hit by the
was
bus.
hit by the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I mean, obviously, if you've got a flow of traffic and there's something stopping that flow of traffic, like a zebra crossing, you just got to obviously keep your eyes open, not be looking at your Facebook page, and understand that when it comes to zebra crossings, people will sometimes be crossing.
Tim, let's argue this from another perspective. We live in a big city. Bangkok is a metropolitan big city. Are we perhaps, we know that we have a road safety problem, we have speeding issues, but are we criticizing the government a bit too much? What I mean by that is that accidents happen, you know. Accidents happen on zebra crossings, a bus hits it's a bike, but feels like every time now there's an accident every day, it's highlighted, it's in the news, and we're just trashing the government.
Well, they're being spotlighted, these incidents, and
Yes.
as I said, no matter what the BMA or the traffic department do, there still needs to be some education so that everybody who's driving a vehicle or crossing understands what the actual regulations are, and that's an important part of what's going on. But sure, any incident at the moment on zebra crossings around Thailand are going to be amplified. And for the moment, if that's going to be part of the media narrative, that's a good thing. It needs to be highlighted, and hopefully, and I certainly believe there has been a change of culture at those zebra crossings. I've noticed a big change.
Yeah.
It's not definitive, but there has been definitely a big change in people's manners and motorbikes and cars stopping when they come to a zebra crossing. So let's hope, even if it is amplified, that it's been worth it.
Oh, Tim, it's the hope that kills you. All right, it's time for a break. After we come back from the break, we're going to give you another update regarding the oil spill in Rayong. We've got some more information regarding that, as well as Phuket Sandbox, and lastly, the 4 types of people that are eligible for the long-term visa.
It's
And
been passed.
the best story yet, monks will get rid of COVID-19 in Thailand, and I'll tell you how.
Oh, yeah.
That's all coming up after the break. Well, welcome back after the break, ladies and gentlemen. It's now time for a new segment we call 2 Minutes in Thailand with Nan, where she's going to talk every day about some tradition in Thailand that we find very interesting. Here's Nan with our latest video.
Do you know what this is? In Thai, we call them San Prapum. You can easily find them all around Thailand. Let me tell you about this thing. San Prapum, or a spirit house, is a shrine and a protective spirit of a place. Thai people who are Buddhists believe these spirits will bless their home or business or give them luck, such as winning some money in the lottery. San Prapum can be found around Thai people's houses or on the corner in every Thai city and town, and are seen outside high-rise office blocks, restaurants, department stores, and everything in between. The spirit house is normally in the form of a small roofed structure and often includes images of people or animals. It looks like a dollhouse. Some leaves offerings at the One shrines, ranging from candles, incense sticks, flowers, food, and drinks. Thai people think the spirit needs food, so we give rice, a plate of fresh fruit, desserts, and colorful drinks. Moreover, no one dare to steal food from the spirit house, even the starving or homeless, because everyone believes in the spirit's power. If you steal the food or eat it, you will be haunted by the ghost, get bad luck or die. They can also be found in Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar. Similar house blessing shrines are also found in China. However, the house style is different from each country's culture. What about your country? Do you have San Papum like us?
And there you have it. Spirit houses in Thailand. You might have seen it before. Now you know what their purpose is.
I'm always interested that the spirits seem to have a predilection for either orange or pink Fanta.
Yes.
Like,
the
the
color
only,
red, reddish.
their only thing they're served is Fanta.
Yes.
So there's going to be an obesity problem in the spirit population. That's
no.
one thing. Diabetes is going to be a big problem for
no.
spirits.
Oh no! How dare you joke about that, Tim?
But don't you ever see that the only thing that they're ever given to drink,
Yes.
which they don't appear to drink, is the orange and the pink Fanta?
Yes. Most probably. There's a reason behind that, the color red, but there's a whole other story behind that, which we don't have currently time to talk about.
Well, that's another one for Nan in the future. Why do spirits like drinking pink and orange Fanta?
All right.
Fanta does come in other colours in Thailand, by the way.
It does. Tim, before we continue, quick shout out to Coffee Culture.
Oh,
Thank you,
yes.
Coffee Culture, for sponsoring the show. You can buy these beautiful mugs, as well as these packs of coffee at coffeeculture.asia. As well as Montezur, Twin Palms Residences Montezur. You can now own a piece of paradise in Phuket, Thailand.
Right along the beach at Kamala, which is one of the favourite beaches for people living in Phuket.
Oh, and that's one of the more upscale areas in Phuket.
It's become a lot more upscale
A lot
in
more
the past.
foreigners in that area.
Yeah, the last 5 years has seen a big change in Kamala, and I've got two things to talk about. One I'll talk about now because it's current with this topic. Remind me later with the other one. Is that the prices in Phuket are really starting to jump, especially land prices. I was going over the prices over the past 5 years, and I was mightily surprised by how much the cost of land and therefore houses and villas has been rising the last 5 years.
All right.
So something to look at if you're into property.
Oil update.
Oh, this is for Rayong.
That's right. The Marine Department is set to propose to the Ministry of Transport, Tim, the revocation of the operating license for Star Petroleum Refining PLC, which is the oil company responsible for the oil leaks in Rayong.
Well, a little bit late to the table, I would say.
Yes.
So we've had the oil leak. We've had 3 spills from this one pipeline.
2 oil spills.
I think they're 2.
One was a minor. It wasn't really...
Well,
yeah.
2.5.
Yeah.
And their solution has been to put a Band-Aid over the thing. I think that's basically what they've come up with.
Yes,
You know,
that's
things
right.
that you put on your knee when you scrape your knee. They're putting one of those over the spill.
Well, SPRC is officially being blamed for 2 oil spills, one on January the 25th and another on February the 10th, which had over 50,000 gallons?
Litres.
Of oil.
The company, Star Petroleum,
Yes.
is 60% owned by the US petrochemical giant Chevron. So these pipelines are actually quite old, and clearly they haven't been maintained properly.
Yeah. There's still currently 12,000 litres of crude oil in that pipe. So once those 2 cracks are sealed, that oil actually has to be removed from that pipe as well.
Well, you'd certainly hope so, and that the pipeline completely removed and replaced.
Yeah. Well, at this point,
Or a bit late.
it might... Yeah. I'm not going to put any ideas out there.
The beaches along Rayong, it's not just that main beach, which I can't remember the name of, that the oil actually landed on. Other beaches are being affected along the coastline, some of them quite close to the Rayong, the main city there.
Yeah, and tar balls are still being washed up from Thapong Pier
Spongy
to
little
the bottom of
nasty
the Gulf.
black oil smelling plasticine things that are very difficult to remove from your feet. I could show you my shoes. They've still got the stains from walking on tar balls, 4 or 5 months ago.
4 or 5 months ago, that's
Yeah.
right. And an engineering team from Japan is already in Rayong on standby, ready to commence the operation of the command of the Marine Department.
And
So they're
this-
waiting to take out that 12,000 litres of oil, I believe.
This worries me, Jay, because it seems they've had to bring in a lot of international experts to fix this. There should be a bit like the emergency people at airports.
Yes.
Where they're just basically ready if there is an incident, the unlikely possibility. But they're always ready and they're always training and they're always seeing if the water works. Every time I fly out of Phuket every Monday, they're out there testing all their emergency equipment, which is a good thing to see.
Yes.
They should have an emergency situation in a plan in place for these type of oil spills. I mean, there's a lot of refining in the Gulf of Thailand. It's a big industry. It brings in a lot of money to Thailand. They should have a department just ready to go, bang, on site within a couple of hours of an oil spill. But this has been a total cock-up.
There's a lot of we should have in Thailand, but we don't. There's a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda.
So, if they're going to revoke their license, what does that mean? Oh, you're going to have to leave the country and we'll get somebody else to pull the oil out of the ground. What does it mean?
What does it mean?
We're going to revoke your
Where
license.
am I? Okay. Phuket Sandbox. Let's talk about the Phuket Sandbox. Let's move on from Rayong to the Phuket Sandbox. Now, the TAT, who we love, actually, the TAT's come out and said that the Phuket Sandbox revenue currently tops 43 billion baht.
The Sandbox was relaunched in July the 1st,
July the 1st
last year.
Yeah.
And it was a tentative reopening of Thailand. It was obviously a pilot program.
Yeah, it had 300 tourists per day, but currently it has about 3,000.
And that's fantastic that, out of everywhere in the country, the big beneficiary from the reopening has been Phuket.
Yes.
Now, it's been at the detriment of just about everywhere else in the tourism industry in the country.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like in Pattaya or people in Chiang Mai, say the place is dead. There's just no tourists there at all.
Yeah.
So the advantage for Phuket and this alleged, 48 billion baht in revenue has been at the detriment of just about every other tourist location in the rest of the country. And people in those locations in Bangkok and Hua Hin and Pattaya, Chiang Mai, and up in the northeast, which is sort of becoming increasingly popular for visitors, would be well entitled to ask some questions as to why does Phuket get all this special treatment? I mean, I think a lot of us already know the answer, but I think some serious questions need to be asked of some of the tourism operators and the government officials who made these decisions to isolate Phuket as the only place they're really going to concentrate their sandbox efforts.
You know, every family has their favourite. And Phuket is clearly the star child of Thailand. And it's something to promote. Like, if you had the choice of putting all your resources in your star child, who has the most chance of success, wouldn't you?
Well, they did in your case. I mean, your family's poured love and money at the detriment of your siblings.
And look at them now, they're suffering.
Yeah.
Can't put your eggs all in one basket and then blame the basket.
And I get it. Phuket is an island. I mean, it's more easily isolated. But what about Samui? Samui has just got not very many.
Samui's a
nearly
sad
said it.
place.
Not many visitors. Of course, it's got the other problem where there's only got one airline flying in there domestically, feeding it.
Which has a monopoly on that airport.
Yeah,
Because they built it.
The prices you pay to get to Samui from Bangkok, or Phuket, by the way, there has been flights from Phuket, are just exorbitant.
Yeah.
Like 4, 5, 6 times as much as what you would pay for a similar route anywhere else in the country.
I've been to Samui twice. And I live like 2 hours away from Samui.
By plane?
No, but yeah, by plane.
Yes.
But it's just too expensive to go by plane, so the only way would be to drive up there, and who's going to bother with that?
I've driven there. It takes about 5 hours to drive from
it's not worth
Phuket
it.
to Samui, and then you have to wait for the ferry.
That's my point. You don't have to wear... What's the point of doing that? It's not
I agree.
that great.
You can.
But yeah, they need to figure it... They need to make it more accessible.
Carmel's got something to say.
Carmel.
I think.
Yes.
Well, her hands are up. I'm just looking
Sorry,
behind
it's
all the
hidden
cameras.
behind the cameras. Joe Dirt said, why would anyone want to go to Phuket with all the scams. There are other islands in Thailand as well.
Well, it's not as if those scams are new.
Yeah.
There's been scams in holiday areas around the world for time immemorial. As soon as you've got foreigners arriving in a place where they don't know where to buy things or how much things cost, there's going to be scams.
And scams are everywhere.
Scams
it's not
are
just
everywhere.
in Phuket, but they're everywhere. But I mean,
so it's not as if the last 2 years Phuket has discovered, I think we can do jet ski scams.
it's the golden child. I mean, maybe some people don't want to admit it, but I'm just talking about the actions of the country and the government thus far in the last 2 years. There's been one province and one city in Thailand that has gotten little extra, I would say.
It's just a little extra. You know, they were a few years ago getting rid of the sun lounges, those ubiquitous white plastic sun lounges with the attendants, and you paid 100 baht to get your sun lounge.
Yeah.
They were getting rid of them because there were a lot of different scams and gangs getting involved in the sun lounges. It was quite a lucrative business. And then there was only 10% on this beach and 10% in this area. And let me say, in Patong Beach, the sun lounges are back. Big time. So if you do come to Phuket or any other beach in Thailand at the moment, you can be assured that you will get a sun lounge, and I'm imagining they're charging the 100 baht.
Yes. I'm going to skip one of the stories because we've almost run, we've run over 40 minutes so far.
Wow, I do have a little story for you.
What's the story regarding?
It's about hospitals.
Oh, no.
Just a very, very quick story. I'm sure Carmel's got a couple of final comments. So a friend who is a foreigner,
Yes.
and was having some, downstairs problems, went to hospital, to a public hospital. This person is covered by the universal healthcare system because even though he's a foreigner, has a work permit, and so is covered under the healthcare system, health insurance system. Was given a colonoscopy, found to have a small cancer, had the operation to remove the cancer, and is now recovering. So has had 2 or 3 procedures, including quite extensive split up the front and removal of that cancer, weeks in hospital, etc., etc. The bill came to 355,000 baht.
Wow. Okay.
How much did he pay? 0.
Oh.
Absolutely
I
0.
was going to say 10,000.
There was no waiting list. He was attended to straight away. Now, when people sort of complain about Thailand as a third world country, this person was given really top-notch gold star service in a public hospital, and he did actually pay 6,000 baht for a 10-day stay so he could upgrade from a room with 4 people to a private room. 6,000 baht. So, there are good stories about the healthcare system. I just wanted to make sure we want people to understand that there are the occasional horror stories which you're going to hear about on any healthcare or any hospital system around the world. They're the ones that get the attention. But here's a good story, and of course we wish that particular person a good and speedy recovery. Just wanted to mention that.
Very nice story,
I've
Tim.
done it.
Our last story today is about a monk, or monks rather, and as they hosted funerals for a scarecrow named COVID
I think
to ward off disease.
They called the scarecrow Mr. COVID Omicron.
That's exactly what they did. So monks at a temple in the central Thai province of Suphanburi have hosted the funeral for a scarecrow which was named Mr. COVID Omicron. And Thai locals believe this ceremony could help ward off evil, which is COVID-19 in this case. And
So, did it work?
Utham Param Temple or Pai Kak Temple.
So they'd had all the rituals, all the Buddhist rituals, the
Yes.
chanting,
Yes.
and then they put him in the crematorium.
Yes.
Being a straw scarecrow, he would have burnt pretty quickly, I would think.
I think so too.
So now what we have to do is Suphanburi.
Yes, Suphanburi.
We need to watch the COVID numbers there over the next couple of weeks and see if they go down. Or will they go up?
Yeah.
Will he come back as an evil spirit?
Who knows? We'll find out. I will keep you updated on this story on thethiger.com. And that's it. That's how I'd like to end the show today.
Okay.
So thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, viewer.
Yes, thank you, Carmel. Thank you, Num, behind the buttons. I apologize we haven't addressed as many comments today because we just had a lot to talk about.
And we did.
And we did. As for us, it's goodbye here from the studio. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.